Hey guys, Zelda here. We're going to continue the sewing series by talking about patterns some more. This time we're going to talk about how to find a pattern, because when you show up to a craft store, a fabric store, or wherever you're looking for a pattern, it can be a very daunting process. You'll want to be prepared to spend some time searching, because when you show up, you're going to see this. A massive, massive pile of books. And it can look pretty scary, but I promise you it's not as terrible as it seems. Because when you start actually looking at them, what you're going to notice is that there's duplicates of a couple books, and some of them all have different covers, but if you read the spines, it's the same thing. And then inside each of the pattern books, there's actually subdivisions. They'll say this section is for dresses, and this is for tops, and this is for pants, and this is for skirts, and this is for accessories. And so when you know what it is you're looking for, you don't have to look through the whole book. You just go to the sections you want. There'll be a little bit of overlap, like if you're looking for a particular style dress, I always look through dresses, and then I also look through Halloween. I almost always go through the Halloween section. There's always a Halloween or costume section, and they usually have some pretty good stuff in there too. When you find a pattern you like the look of, somewhere nearby on that page there will be an ID number. All the patterns in the store are organized by brand and that ID number. What I recommend is every time you find a pattern you think you might possibly like, is to go and pull it from the cabinets. There'll be all these file cabinets that'll have different number ranges on them, and they're all organized sequentially, so it's really easy to find. Pull every pattern that you think you might possibly want to use, because it's easier to compare them all when you have them all next to each other and you can lay them all on a table than trying to keep track of where they are in the books. And then you can always just put back what you don't want to use. And please put them back. Don't leave them for the poor people to have to do. That's just mean. Most patterns come with a recommended fabric listed on the back of them. This is just a suggestion. It's what they recommend, and they recommend it for giving you the exact look that is in the picture on the pattern. You can use whatever fabric you want. You just need to be aware of the fact that it means you might not have as much structure, like if it's supposed to have a pointed shoulder, or that the skirt might flow a little differently, or sleeves might fit a little, or poof a little bit differently. It's all stuff that you can fix and make adjustments to if you're using a different kind of fabric, but it's something you should know is going to happen. So just be aware of that. When you choose a pattern, on the back side, there's going to be a lot of text, and what this text is all telling you is what you need to be able to make the pattern. It'll tell you how much fabric you need, it'll tell you what other kind of stuff you need. We call these sewing notions, and that's things like zippers, buttons, Velcro, all that kind of stuff. It'll tell you that stuff, it'll tell you if you need lining, it's going to list all the ingredients for your pattern that you might possibly need, so that way you don't have to open it up and figure it out, and you can just buy everything all at once. Again, going back to the last video, if you're not using a pattern, one of the reasons I recommend you go and find one that's at least close to what you want is so that way you can look at the back of that pattern and see how much fabric it recommends. It can be really difficult to try to picture it all in your head and say, oh, that looks like 1.5 yards of fabric. Find something that's similar, see what fabric it recommends. Whenever it's got a recommended amount of fabric, I always get a little bit extra, partially because I tend to screw up a little bit, at least once, and I like to have a little bit of wiggle room, but also because it makes it easier to lay out your pattern pieces if you're not having to put them all right on top of each other. You can have a little bit of space between them. So I know this one was a little bit short, and it wasn't all that earth-shattering as far as information goes, but at least hopefully it will help you navigate the pattern section of your fabric store. And the next one I'm going to talk about fabric types and how working with them can be different and difficult depending on what it is you're doing and what fabric you've chosen. And I'll also talk about some of the notions and differences between some of them and what some of the extra jargon on the back of a pattern might mean. So yeah, that'll do it for now, and I'll catch you guys later.